What is going on, everybody? Voidlego here, back with a brand new episode of Higurashi When They Cry. Last time on, we had finally connected every single piece of fragment together, and now the quote-unquote game board has been set up. The things we have learned from the game board is that Hanyu has kind of manifested into reality because she finally became a participant within this quote-unquote game. So she has been, she is now in reality, as we saw both Kechi's dad and Kechi himself both see her. Another revelation we found out was that Takano was in the dumps as the officials of Tokyo, due to the death of Kazumi, thought that the project should be shut down and that it was a rabbit hole just where funds were going tunneling down for no particular reason. After that, Takano was in the dumps, being drunken and all that, but she is picked up by a mysterious woman named Nomura, which I was informed of, that's her name, who seems to know a lot about Takano. A lot more than any person should know about another person, especially the very deep things she knows about Takano. And acting as a devil, she trusts Takano's original goal of letting the world know of her grandfather in a positive light, of having his research be revered by many. She instead twists this goal into a revenge on the world itself for daring to disregard Takano's, Hifumi's work instead. And one other thing is that we saw future Akasaka after the events of probably chapter 6, or really any Akasaka who's turned into a, badass cop fighting dude. That is very much part of his own manga series. And he wishes to go back and fix everything, and Hanyu grants that to him. So right now we are finally in the fragment of this chapter. So I'm very curious on where this is going to go, so let's just get started. Well. It's an ordinary morning. The only difference is that it started a little later than usual. Chi-sensei normally arrives in the classroom right away, but she's a little late today. Why was she late for homeroom? The rumors were already stirring about the classroom before she arrived. Chi-sensei gave a cue, and the girl peeked in the room timidly. Shit. The voices of welcome, delight, and surprise all mixed together and filled the classroom. Just a foreign relative from, distant country, everyone has horns there. God, this really is a slice of life anime. Of course we had the foreign exchange student. Fucking, that's the one archetype we didn't have. All my classmates had got excited. The new girl looked rather intimidated by it all. Mika-chan is rather carefree, but this Hanyu seems like the complete opposite. She's more like a shy woodland animal, that's true. The exact type that Rena loves. Look-see. Rena's already to swallow her whole.
では羽生さん、自己紹介をしてください。皆さんは静かに聞くように。はい、それでは羽生さん、どうぞ。
Chi-sensei left the podium and encouraged Hanyu to take over. The even greater pressure of the silence left her standing there timidly for a little bit. Well, that's understandable. It's very nerve-wracking to watch, though.
フルで羽生と言いますのです。その、理科の親戚なのです。僕の親戚なのですよ。みんな仲良くしてあげてほしいです。
Rika-chan can tell that she's too nervous to introduce herself. She's right to break the silence. Pressuring her like that isn't fair. Which is why I decided to make it more lively.
リカちゃんと同じフルデさんなんだね。フルデさんが2人になっちゃった。なら、羽生さんでいいじゃありませんの。フルデさんって呼んだら、リカも振り返ってしまいましたよ。
We generally call each other by our first names here. She's one of us starting today, so we should call her by her first name too.
なら決まりだね。今日からあんたのことは羽生って呼ぶよ。私はクラス委員長の園崎ミオン。ミオンでいいからね。北条聡子でございますわよ。よろしくですわよ、羽生さん。
I'm Daiki Tokuna. My parents won a tofu shop. Please come by in time. I am Shigeru Okuma. Please ask me if you don't know anything.
こんにちは。仲良くしようね。何年生？
Our classmates fell over each other to introduce themselves. Everyone tried to get a turd and remember their names so they could be friends. Friendly atmosphere swelled in the room. I've only just transferred here recently myself, but this is exactly how it was on my first day too. I remember how nervous I was, and how much I appreciated this as a result. I know more than anyone how nerve-wracking it is to be a new student. I should look after her.
そうだね。早くクラスに馴染めるようにしてあげないとね。
そっか。レナも去年は転校生だったんだよな、確か。レナも転校してきた時は緊張したか？
うん。でも、みーちゃんたちがすごく親切にしてくれたから、すぐに馴染めたんだよ。まあね。ニューカマーを迎えるのも御三家の大切な仕事だからね。
都合のいい時だけ御三家になるな、お前は。でも、ミオンなんかに世話になって馴染めたってのは確かにそうだ。
You know what this tone is reminding me of? Or this vibe, or whatever you want to call it. It's reminding me of the beginning of Chapter 1. It's very much reminding me of that. That kind of carefree type of vibe. Now, I don't know if that was probably intentional, but it's kind of a cool full circle moment here. Like, you know, at the beginning, we were kind of carefree because we didn't know anything. Now we're here at the end, carefree as well, but we know everything. It's very interesting. It's a very cool full circle type of moment.
なら、今度はケイちゃんがお世話をする番ってことになるんじゃないかな。
そうだな。レナだって転校生だったのに、その次に来た俺に世話をしてくれたもんな。なら、今度は俺が新しい転校生に親切にする番ってことだな。
A new student always dramatically changes the atmosphere of our class. Even my attitude has changed. We decided to gather around Hanyu during lunch break.
Hi! それでは羽 への質問は1人1個ずつだからね。彼女の本質に迫るディープな質問をズバリ言ってみよう。さあさあ、1番は誰？
好きな食べ物は何ですか？甘いお菓子はみんな大好きなのです。一番好きなのはシュークリームなのですよ。あら、それは素敵ですわね。私も大好物でしたよ。沖宮に美味しい洋菓子のお店がありますの。今度案内して差し上げましたよ。
はいはい、男ども聞こえたね。羽生の好感度を稼ぐにはシュークリームだよ。安いやつより高級店の高くて美味しいやつが効果的。さあ次の質問は誰かな。ないならおじさんが好きな子のタイプとか聞いちゃうよ。
God damn it, man. Everyone kept asking Hanyu questions, and she looked all panicky again. Guess this is like a traditional ceremony for a new student. I remember this is exactly how my first day went. Mia and Sadako seemed amused, so it must be the same for them too. I noticed when watching the scene before with a distant look in her eyes. She's probably remembering her first day too.
レナも転校してきた時を思い出してるのか？他のことを考えてたな。羽生をお持ち帰りする算段でもしてるんだろう。
そんなこと考えてないよ。羽生ちゃんがシュークリームが大好きなこととか、レナのうちに美味しいシュークリームがあるんだよ、食べにおいでとか全然考えてないんだよ。
That damn boing sound effect.
お持ち帰り。
明日からいきなり不登校になったら、こりゃレナのせいに違いないな。
そんなのひどいよ。
As we watched Hanyu and our classmates have fun, Wena and I laughed together.
ねえケイチくん、なんだか嬉しいね。
嬉しいよな。新しいクラスメートを迎えるのは。
そうじゃなくて、この子たまに見かけてた気がするの。
羽生か？
Hmm.
引っ越し前の下見とかで来た時とかかな。レナって記憶力いいな。
そういうのじゃなくて、羽生ちゃんはもっと前からいて、レナたちのすぐ近くでみんなで遊んでるのをずっと見てた気がするの。ずーっと。あれ？レナだけ？ケイチ君も気づいてたよね。
いや、俺は全然見たことはないんだが。
Interesting.
レナは面識があるってことなのか？
From what I can see, this is the first time Mia and Sadako have met Hanyu. If she's been that close to us, like Wena said, it's possible that none of us would remember her.
気のせいじゃねえのか？第一、羽生は転校生なんだぜ。村にそんなにしょっちゅういたはずないじゃないか。
そうかな。たまに見かけたような気がするんだけどな。
気のせい気のせい。羽生だってついさっき転校前は遠くに住んでたって言ってたじゃないか。
It does make a lot of sense since Wena has been the most connected to Oshiro-sama that she's the first that would kind of recognize Hanyu.
でもレナは見たんだけどな。
Wena looked like she was trying to remember more. It's probably one of those deja vu experiences. Although it is the first time you see something, feels like you've seen it before.
別にどうでもいいだろう。今はここにいるんだからさ。
そうなんだよね。あんなにもレナたちの輪の中に入りたそうにしていたから仲間に加われてよかったねって。
Lena smiled with tears in her eyes. When I looked over at her, Rika-chan was wearing the same expression. It made no sense to me why those two looked that way. But as soon as Sadako came over and pulled a plank on me, I forgot all about it. She's fucking dead. These are the words that signaled the best time of the school day. As soon as the last period ended, my classmates ran out of the room. Hanyu was popular all day today. She's Rika-chan's age, so all the lower grade students gathered around her. Older students like me and Mion didn't have a chance to get close to her.
まあクラスとしてはさ、こわもての上級生が転校してくるよりは自分たちと同い年くらいの可愛い転校生の方が嬉しいだろうしね。
圭一くん、最初の頃は緊張してたのかなんだか怖そうな顔をしてたもんね。
おいおい、そりゃひどいぜ。俺だってクラスに早く馴染もうとフレンドリーに接してたってのによ。
どこがフレンドリーでございましたの？私、転校してきて早々にいきなり圭一さんにデコピンを食らってますのよ。
それは転校初日の教室デビューの出花をトラップでくじかれたからだろうが。しかも椅子の背には画鋲で、机の中にはカエルまで入ってたぞ。
転校生が職員室にいると聞いて様子を見に行った時、圭一がとても緊張してるように見えたのです。だから聡子が緊張をほぐしてやろうと思ったに違いないのです。ひなみ沢の先輩として気を利かせて差し上げたんでしたよ。
絶対それだけはありえねえな。
Although that blackboard eraser trap sure did help to ease my attention. But Sadako will be so pleased with herself if I tell her that. So I'll never admit it.
羽生ちゃんはみんなと帰ったね。放課後は誰と遊ぶか今頃引っ張りだこなんじゃないかな。
でもやっぱり初日は疲れるもんだよな。きっと帰ったらバタンキューだぜ。
違いありませんわね。
さてさて皆の衆、このところ私のバイトのせいでだいぶ長いことご無沙汰だったね。部活メンバーの招集だ。
待ちかねてましたよ。ご無沙汰が過ぎると鈍ってしまいましたよ。
Let's fucking go!
誰かの罰ゲームをかわいそしないと僕も退屈してしまいますです。はうレナは負けないんだよ。久しぶりだから手加減なんかしないんだよ。
どうやらみんな欲求不満でだいぶエネルギーを持て余してたようだね。そうでなくちゃおじさんも叩き潰す甲斐がないってもんだよ。
やる気満々みたいじゃねえか。だがな、あいにく俺の今日の調子は絶好調だ。しくじったなミオン。今日もバイトに行ってた方が良かったと後悔することになるぜ。
Mion's had to work quite a bit lately because her uncle's shop is short on staff. We haven't done any club activities for a long while. For us, club activities are the main reason we come to school. In a way, we live for these few hours at this school. If there are no club activities, there's no point in coming here at all. So it only makes sense for us to be excited about getting to have a meeting again.
こりゃ生半可なゲームじゃみんなの渇きを癒せそうにないね。何のゲームで料理してやろうかね。
D&D. I mean, what? Man looked into the quote locker. I'm always curious about what's in that locker and how much of it there is. I swear there's more in there than it can realistically hold. Just then we heard the door open.
あれ羽生ちゃんこんにちはなのです。あら、どうなさいましたの？忘れ物でございますの？
I thought she had already gone home. Did she forget her lunchbox or something? It's not that big a deal to forget a textbook, but you can't forget a lunchbox.
羽生、どうしたの？なんか探し物？
Hanyu looked at us apologetically. What is it? Are we in the way? She kept staring at us timidly. Are we sitting in Hanyu's seat? No, that's not it.
どうしたの羽生ちゃん？何か困りごとかな？
I wanted to talk to her, but there was no communication to be had. Almost like trying to have a conversation with a stray cat. What is this? Hanyu was fixated on something. I followed her gaze and found Rika-chan. Hanyu's apologetic gaze was directed at Rika-chan.
Me. 僕は何も言いませんです。羽生がそうしたいなら自分のお口で言うと良いのです。
With that, I finally figured it out. Hanyu wanted to say something, but she didn't know how to say it, so she wanted Rika-chan to say it for her. But Rika-chan told her to say it herself. In other words, we need to listen to what Hanyu has to say. We patiently waited for Hanyu to speak up. But when I think about what happened this morning, I realize this kind of silence makes her even more nervous. Lena, noticing that, talked to her in a sweet tone of voice.
どうしたの羽生ちゃん？レナにこっそり話して。相談に乗ってあげるよ。お、何？もう一回言って。ほうほう。で、
Lena raised her voice.
何よ、おじさんにも教えてよ。何なのよ一体。
本当にいいの？どうしたんでございますの？もごもご言われては気持ちよくありませんでしたよ。僕も部活に混ぜてもらいたいのです。
Hanyu said it loudly, as if to shake off her embarrassment. Fuck, this really is a slice of life trope, yet it's working in this fucking context. It's really fucking working in this. Oh my god, how the fuck? God, this is such a... I mean, come on, this is such a slice of life trope of like, oh, the foreign exchange student comes in episode like 13 and, you know, they want to join the already established cast. But it really works here because we already know the horrors of Hanyu has been for, and then she's finally participating in this world and she finally gets to be a part of it and she wants to finally be someone. Not as a bystander. Oh, my heart. Oh, my heart. My heartstrings. Oh, Ryokusho 7, what are you doing to me? What are you doing with me? How can you make me so emotionally invested in this using damn slice of life tropes? How dare you, good sir? How dare you?
こりゃまだ驚いた。どこで誰におじさんたちのことを聞いたのやら。
僕も入れてほしいのです。僕も部活に混ぜてほしいなのです。よく自分で言えましたです。パチパチパチ。
Mika-chan must have known that Hanyu wanted to join the club all along. Mia unfolded her arms with a smile and stared at Hanyu as if appraising her. Needless to say, Hanyu was intimidated.
自分から好んで七に飛び込みたがるとは、こりゃとんでもない命知らずがいたもんだよ。でもね、うちの部活はそんじょそこらのおままごととは違うんだ。選ばれた者が試練をくぐり抜けた末にようやく入部を許される栄光の部活なんだよ。入れてください、はいそうですかってわけにはいかないね。
あのね、羽生ちゃん、みーちゃんの部活は見てる分にはとっても楽しいかもしれないけど、その、大変なんだよ。覚悟の上なのです。勝って当然。負けたらとんでもないことになってしまいますのよ。その覚悟は終わりですこと？僕も負けないのですよ。それに
Hanyu swallowed once and said what was on her mind. It sounded like a big thing to say for her, as though it had a much deeper meaning.
かつての僕は負けるのが嫌で全ての勝負から逃げていましたのです。でも逃げることは負けることにすら劣ること。負ける痛みにくじけず戦い続けて初めて勝ちを得られるのだと教えてもらいましたのですから。
You motherfucker, Ryukyu 7. That. Oh, you son of a bitch. You clever writing son of a bitch. That's fucking. You motherfucker. Oh, that's so good. That's so fucking good. I can't even put into words how good that is. It ties in both sides of this damn story. Both the overarching, the overarching story of, trying to break out of this time loop, which has been referred to as a game board against Takano, and fucking making Hanyu join the damn club, which is about playing games. That fucking... Oh, you motherfucker. You clever, genius son of a bitch. That's good. That's fucking good, man. When Mion realized that, although she looks timid, Hanyu's actually very courageous, she grinned. Looks like she's growing fond of her.
へえ、なかなかどうして大した根性じゃねえかよ。どうだよミオン、せっかくだから試してやったらいいじゃねえかよ。入部試験。
我が部にふさわしいかどうか、最低数週間の観察を経てようやく受けられる入部試験を転校初日からとはね。さてどうしたものか。
Mion pretended to be stubborn, but in reality she was simply playing with her. If she actually did want her to join, she would have refused her right away. Of course, if Hanyu was bothered by this kind of intimidation, she wouldn't be able to survive in this club.
レナとサトコが今話したと思うけど、うちの部は厳しいよ。勝って当然。狙うは1位の。
Oh my.
間違って最下位になった日にゃ、生まれてきたことを後悔するような大変な目に遭わされるんだよ。
Motherfucker, the entire point of the damn club is to come in first and the fucking Hanyu versus Takano. God damn it! Son of a bitch, dude. God damn it. God damn it. I can't. All I can do is swear at how fucking good this writing is. What the fuck?
でも僕も頑張るのです。でも罰ゲームだってとっても楽しいんだよ。
Hanyu-chan, you've been watching the whole time, huh? You've been wanting to join for the longest time, huh? Got the feeling that Mona just mumbled something like that.
ミオ、もったいぶらないで試してやればいいじゃねえかよ。俺だってそいつをくぐって入部を許可されたはずだぜ。
そうですわよ。一つ羽生さんの腕っぷしを見てやろうじゃありませんの。羽生ちゃん頑張ろう。レナは手加減しないからね。僕だって手加減しないのです。僕は羽生にだけ手加減しないのです。
よーし、気に入った。フルで羽生、あんたに我が部の入部試験を許可する。となりゃ話は変わるね。羽生にも分かるゲームにしてあげないとね。どれがいいかな。おこいつがいいかな。
Mion threw a deck of cards onto the desk. Does this mean?
誰でも分かるゲームでいこう。トランプのジジ抜きはどうかな。
I was going to say Uno, but hey, that works too.
望むところなのです。
Here she goes. That's exactly what I had to do when I went through this entrance exam. This is the marked tile deck.
なかなか威勢のいい返事でございますわね。でも我が部のジジ抜きは一味違いましてよ。
Most of the cards have scratches on the back, so by memorizing the scratches, you can tell what card it is. In other words, the more you play this game, the better you are at it. This is simply our way of being mean to newcomers.
羽生ちゃん、頑張ってね。これは試練なんだよ。
Use the heart of the cards.
カイト、オーなのです。
It sure brings back memories. I had to go through this too. It just happened recently, but I still feel so nostalgic. For fuck's sake, that was actually a year ago. It's fucking wild to think about.
だがそれと手加減は別の事件だぜ。あの時みんなが手加減なしで全力で俺を叩き潰してくれたように、俺も全力で叩き潰してやるからな。なあみんな。
お覚悟なさいませですわよ、羽生さん。
さあさあ、部活メンバーの末席を望むならそれにふさわしいかを自ら示してみな。
はいなのです。
その手札を右から言うよ。エース3、4、7、ジャック、クイーン。
今さら手で隠したって見え見えですわよ。ごめんね、羽生ちゃん。これがスペードのエースだよね。あ
思い知ったな、ハニュー。入部試験の洗礼を思い知れ。
圭一は自分の入部試験の恨みが混じりまくりなのです。
ほらほら、ケイちゃん、そんなこと言ってていいの？羽生、ケイちゃんの右のカードで上がれるよ。上が
りましたのです。
とわー、きったねー。こうなりゃ本気モードで行くぜ。よくもこの俺を怒らせたな。羽生、お前初日の下校からいきなり尻尾付きブルマの首輪付き四つん這いで帰宅したいのか。
あらあら、それはむしろ圭一さんにこそ似合いましたよ。いいねいいね。それをレナがお待ち帰り。僕も圭一に恥ずかしい罰ゲームをしてやりますのです。
いい提案だね。おじさんはそいつになるよ。
なんでいつの間にか俺包囲網が完成してるんだよ。上等だ。てめえら全員四つん這いで下校させてやるぜ。
Jim, use all the sound effects for this section. Damn car horn. Now, where is this?
スピーチあと一人で乾杯に入ります。準備できてるね。
広報 OK です。内部全然聞こえないんで、スピーチが終わるタイミングでコールをお願いします。
いいかい。各宅にビールは10本ずつだよ。ちゃんと自分の縄張りにスムーズに運んでね。
Young raiders with bow ties got bottles of beer ready for a toast. There are several dozen tables with white tablecloths on them in the banquet room. Approximately 8 people are sitting at each table, so there are at least a few hundred people there. The banquet room is teeming with excitement. There are many plates with different kinds of food on each table. A sushi platter, a sashimi platter, a fruit platter. Also along the wall, there are cooks ready to serve fresh sashimi. All the guests appear to be well-mannered gentlemen, and obviously they are notable people from different fields. So, Tokyo Banquet. The huge and beautiful chandelier above them clearly tells that this hotel holds a status good enough for these famous people. An elderly gentleman is giving a long speech on the stage before making a toast. Usually people don't like such long speeches, especially if it's before a toast. But the guests are actually excited with his speech. Well, maybe forever was a pleasant way to put it. Fever. Forever? Forever? It's probably more accurate to say their excitement was bizarre. Anyway, Japan accepted the demand for unconditional surrender the day they did the Pacific War ended. In other words, even if they had to take care of the business, the war ended that day according to international law. From that day on, there was peace. Therefore, if any troops invaded Japanese land during that peace, that would be an encroachment against Japan. No matter what the Soviet Union says, the northern territories are Japanese land, and it should be clear to everyone that they invaded illegally. Here. And now they want to settle by returning to a mere 2 islands to us. Who do they think they're kidding? Listen, Habami, Toei, Kunashir, and fuck me, I fucked up all those names, are Japanese territory. Their total area is equal to entire prefecture. What would you think if the Soviets invaded and occupied one of our prefectures? Would you settle for just getting half of the prefecture back? No, you wouldn't. You have the entirety returned to you. Yet the Soviets are brazenly sitting there claiming vested rights to the land. This is no joke. We must strongly oppose this to the bitter end. Return all the northern islands. Our nation must demonstrate unwavering resolve on that point. Thunderous applause filled the banquet room. All the gentlemen agreed and expressed that they felt the same way by cheering them on. In all that hubbub, there were two people staying by the wall who didn't seem to fit in with the rest. They were wearing sharp-looking suits, and while a little too old to be called young men, were certainly young compared to all the other elderly gentlemen in the banquet room.
どうして政治家ってこう説教臭いというか若者軽視というかこう偏るんでしょうね。
簡単なことさ。
Akasaka, okay.
政治家が一番欲しいのは票だ。票は有権者が投じる。だが20歳以上が全員投票するわけじゃない。投票率のほとんどは退職して時間にゆとりがあり、その分政治に関心の高い高齢者が占めている。
となれば高齢者層をいかに取り込むかというのが選挙のポイントになるわけですね。
The war only happened 40 years ago. In other words, a generation that's interested in voting is a generation from before the war.
うちのおふくろ、よく空襲の話をします。昔は水道橋のあたりに住んでて、空襲で家族を全員失って、焼け野原を一人さまよったなんて話をいつも。
そうさ。
Our parents went through the war. They shed their blood, sweat, and tears, believing it was for the good of the nation. We lost the war, but they believe the war still brought about change that serves as a foundation for the peace we have today. I hear that a lot. That if Japan hadn't fought in the war, the Asian countries would still be Western colonies. There was no way we could have won, but we needed to fight in that war or something like that. In that case, no matter how much they preach pacifism, politicians can't ignore the pre-war generation. War is bad, and we should never again fight a war. But that war was necessary. And once they say things like that, it's like they're denying the very lives that generation lived.
なるほど。政治家も票を取るのに大変なんですね。
そういう主義主張も本心でしているなら一意見の主張として立派だと思う。だが彼らの票が欲しくて表向きだけ調子を合わせてる卑劣な政治家もいる。そういう迎合的な政治家が後を絶たない限り解雇主義は永遠に終わらないのさ。
そうして若者とお年寄りの意識の格差は多分1000年経っても相変わらず。
They'll just keep repeating that the war was justified yet regrettable every time an election takes place. When will our country ever be freed from that cycle?
簡単さ。若者がちゃんと選挙に行け。そして安易な迎合にごまかされず、ちゃんと政策を考えてるやつに投票しろ。実現可能な政策だぞ。
ああ、いますね。明らかに実現不可能な公約を掲げている候補者っています。あ、赤坂さん、F 択ってあれじゃないですか。
あのご婦人だな。行くぞ。
The speech had ended, and the elderly gentlemen were giving the man on the stage a standing ovation. The two men walked through the crowd and approached an old lady in kimono.
はい、私ですけれども、どちら様ですか？
昨日お電話で約束させていただきましたものです。赤坂と申します。
Interesting. Not the greatest of news, huh?
主人はね、ずっと日本のためにと身を粉にして働いてきたんですのよ。それなのに
奥さんの胸中 深くお察しします。
This wasn't really anything out of the ordinary. Nobody could remember if there had been a donation or not, so a handful of politicians were questioned. As a result, some came up with a scheme to blame a sickly elderly man who had already retired. With only a short time to live anyway, he was the perfect fit for them. The elderly man had already been sick in bed, and the shock of his friends betraying him had taken away his will to live. The only thing his wife could do was to simply watch him suffer. She kept crying while telling the men about her husband's achievements.
ご主人の無実が間違いなければ、必ずや裁判官は正義の判決を下すでしょう。大丈夫です。濡れ衣は必ず晴らせます。
そんなのは分かっています。だって無実なんですから。でもね、判決が出るまで主人は持たないんです。
Jeez.
お国のためにとあれだけ働いてきて、こんな気持ちで死ねなんてあんまりじゃないですか。あれじゃあ死んでも死にきれません。
Akasaka nodded and tried to find the right words to say to her. His colleague rummaged through a pile of paperwork behind him. The papers were filled with fine print and would be hard for an onlooker to tell exactly what they were. However, the way he was looking at them made it very clear that they contained something important.
赤坂さん、こいつはすごい資料です。金の動きが完全に網羅されてます。
Akasaka gave him a signal to remind him that this wasn't the place to be looking through this document.
奥さん、この他には書類束のようなものはありませんね。
ええ、主人の金庫に入っていた文書はそれで全てです。どうかそれで恩知らずな連中に一泡吹かせてやってください。あれだけ主人に世話になっておきながら。
奥さん、この文章の内容には一部ご主人にとって不利益な内容も含まれていますが、それ
ええ、それは分かっています。政治はね、きれい事だけじゃないんです。私だって政治家の妻ですのよ。
ご協力を感謝します。この書類は必ず巨大な不正を暴くために使用します。
一つだけよろしいですか。それを公表するのは主人が亡くなるまで待ってもらえませんか。
The paperwork Akasaka received was something her husband intended to take to the grave with him. Something that shouldn't exist in this world. If it went public, her husband's name would be disgraced. Akasaka nodded.
わかりました。誓ってお約束します。
Vast public funds were moving from Kasumigasaki. The funds were issued to sub-branches to carry out national policies. But various ideas over those public funds always came together, and there was never an end to those trying to take a poke a straw into it to suck out it like a mosquito. Excess dividends, cordial patronage, profits for organizations that benefited themselves. Many financiers approached and adhered to officials and politicians hoping to earn those gains, and the bureaucrats constantly indulged them. That's how Japanese corruption works. Those illegal pipes from bypass after bypass in Kasumigasaki siphon off public funds for their profit. To find and destroy such pipes is, of course, in the national interest. But eliminating illegal expenditures isn't as simple as all that. There are important people connected to those pipes, and when those people were investigated, a major political scandal takes place. The reason why the government doesn't investigate such illegal expenditures is not only to protect vested interests, but also because they are conscious of the damage these scandals can cause politically. To put it more secretly, the government can't endure the pain of pushing pus out of a wound. The closer the exposed subject is to the top, the greater the pain faced by the government, and that affects the cabinet approval rating. The closer the subject is to the core, the more extensive the damage to the heart. The secret investigation Akasaka was leading went as close to the heart as it got, and could cause a collapse of the administration from shock. Akasaka was tipped off that a huge amount of public funding was leaking out through an alumni organization of the 7 Imperial Universities, Tokyo, so he and his colleagues had been conducting a secret investigation into the matter for a long time. His target was tightly knit, but he learned the wife of one of the organization's senior members bore strong resentment towards them after her husband was made their scapegoat, and he managed to contact her. And because of that, he had gotten his hands on extremely important information.
Minna gokurou-san. だいぶ外堀が埋まってきたようだね。特に赤坂くんが入手した資料は相当ショッキングなものだよ。随分苦労したでしょう。お疲れさん。いえ。
The small meeting room was filled with boxes that were in turn filled with documents. A whiteboard was filled with cramped writing, too. A few of the investigators in the meeting room, which was also filled with smoke, were reading the documents intensely. Their intimidating manner clearly indicated that they were police officers with a great deal of experience. Akasaka was one of those men. It had been a while since Mamoru Akasaka was transferred to this department. When he worked on the case of the kidnapping of Minister Kai's grandson, he had been a Wookiee, but by now he was an experienced investigator. After a knock on the door, an elderly man entered the room. Everyone straightened up all at once.
室長、お疲れ様です。
お疲れさん。立たなくていい。楽にしてくれ。諸君に今日は素晴らしいプレゼントを持ってきたぞ。カノ、お前を息子の授業参観に行かせてやる。
The meeting room was filled with sighs tinged with exasperation and resignation. Those are words. It certainly wasn't because of any of them hated getting to go to Parents' Day.
やっぱりな。そろそろ頃合いだと思ってたんですよ。くそ。
Akasaka's colleague complained. They had been so close to getting to the root of this issue. They had such strong evidence. Akasaka, on his part, wasn't too disturbed. This had happened several times in the past, and considering how hot the documents he obtained were, it was easy enough to predict. The case was suddenly transferred to another department. Yeah. That meant their investigation ended here. The new department was supposed to continue the investigation to expose injustices, but that's never happened once before. It was just an excuse. The investigation had been terminated because of pressure from above.
くそったね。俺たちが今日まで捜査してきたのは何のためだったんでしょうかね。
海を出す痛みがどの程度か測るためだろうな。その結果、痛みに耐えられない規模だということが分かり、荒領事を断念したってことだろう。
In that sense, their hard work wasn't wasted. Because of it, the investigation was terminated. Akasaka understood that, but his colleague wasn't yet mature enough to understand. Of course, Akasaka's sense of justice was displeased by this. He felt frustrated with his superiors who had hesitated to expose the truth. But he was mature enough to know not to say that out loud.
資料の整理と引き継ぎについては今後向こうと調整していく。 とりあえずみんな長く休んでないだろう。5時を待たなくていいぞ。引き上げて体を休めてくれ。残務整理は明日話し合い、あと振り替え休暇の消化をしよう。ちゃんと消化して神さん孝行しろよ。主査は俺と来てくれ。以上だ。
Yes, sir. Though his long secret investigation left a bad taste in his mouth with its resolution, he managed to earn a holiday until the next incident arrived.
じゃあ室長のお言葉に甘えますかね。みんな今日は早く帰って休みな。
こういう時早帰りすると不倫の現場に出くわしたりしちゃうんですよね。バカだな、お前知らないだろう。赤坂さんとこは熱愛夫婦だぞ。毎晩別当の公衆電話からラブコールかけてるの知らないのかよ。
赤坂んところはいいよな。
Still alive.
うちの女房なんてそりゃそっけないもんだよ。
Akasaka smiled bitterly as he gathered the documents in his hands. One of the pages fell to the floor. It was a page from a huge pile of papers documenting the illegal expenditures. They exposed the illegal expenditures of the Alphabet Project, the research team for the next generation of hardware in the Defense Agency. It was entirely possible that this project was created in the first place for the purpose of funneling these illegal expenditures. When he saw the paper, one thing caught Akasaka's eye. He picked it up and looked at it, and tried to remember. It was a list of people who legally received public funds. It was also a list of retirees who were still very much in love with money. There should have been no connection between those people and Akasaka. However, there was one thing that caught his attention.
入江診療所。
Ooh, shit. As soon as he said it, all sorts of memories resurfaced. Yes, the Erie Clinic. When he was working on the case of Mr. Inukai's grandson's abduction, he got into a scuffle with the suspects and became injured. He was taken to the local clinic. As he recalled, the name of that clinic was the Erie Clinic. He started to remember one thing after another. His very first experience with wading into the muck. It was burnt into his mind like a fresh memory, and he could vividly recall everything that happened. His daughter was about to be born, and he really didn't want to go to Himizawa. He met Oshi, who taught him a lot of important things. He also met a girl in that village. Her name was, yes, Rika Furude. That was it. How long had it been? How old was she now? As he remembered their lovely smile, he also remembered the ominous prediction she made. She had predicted that if he didn't go back to Tokyo, something terrible would happen. At the time, he took it as nonsense, but he felt something odd about it, as if it was a divine omen. Then he had remembered Yuki, who was about to give birth. He became concerned about something terrible would happen to her. But he couldn't just leave and go back to Tokyo. That's why he called her right away. He told her something would happen. He told her to be very careful until he returned. Yuki had laughed and told him he was being paranoid, but that phone call indeed saved her from a calamity. Akasaka had found out about that when he visited her after returning to Tokyo. A few days after his phone call, a janitor was seriously injured when he stepped on a loose tile on the stairs on his way to the rooftop. He also heard afterwards that Yuki had a habit of going up to the roof for a walk every day. But because of his phone call, she had stopped doing it. If he hadn't called her, she would have been on the one to step on the loose tile. In other words, Rika Furude's prediction had been correct. There was no proof, but Akasaka still believed that he was able to save Yuki only because of Rika Furude's prediction. He intended to call and thank her for saving Yuki, but the busy days that followed put it out of his mind. Rika-chan. He wondered if she was still doing well, if she was still smiling. Akasaka remembered the sad prediction she made on that night under the moon, while still wearing that smile. That's right. She said something. She predicted someone would get killed on the night of the festival every year, and that on the 5th year end she'd be the one to be killed. That's right, he thought. She did say that. The 5th year. That's this year. The festival is... That's right, it's in June. If you remember correctly, it happens on the last Sunday of the month. Akasaka looked at the calendar. It was June 1983. Although there was still some time, the death she predicted for herself was coming up. The girl who predicted Yuki's accident also prophesied a mysterious incident would occur annually for the next 5 years. If they had actually been happening, they would happen again this year. Akasaka wondered if Oshi was still at the Okayama PD. If the annual incident she predicted actually was taking place, he would know. In other words, he could confirm if Rika Furude was going to be killed or not with a phone call to Oshi. The girl who predicted her own death had muttered that she didn't want to die. Muttered? No. It was clearly a plea for help. The young girl was trapped in the fathomless, bizarre traditions of a village she couldn't escape had sought help from him, an outsider. She paid his reward in advance, in the form of foreseeing Yuki's accident. He had to get to her. He had to go save her. A flood of emotions filled him up. He felt as though he had finally remembered something he was never supposed to forget. That's right. He had to go to Himizawa. He had to save the girl who asked him for help. Oh shit.
すみません。そちらの刑事課に現在も大石クラウド氏は在籍されておりますでしょうか。もしもいらっしゃったならお願いしたいのですが。
失礼ですが、どちら様でしょうか。
警視庁の赤坂とお伝えください。
Oshi was a very lively person, but he had been old even back then. Maybe he had already transferred somewhere else, or maybe he since retired. But if he was still there, he'd be happy to hear from Akasaka. He sure had a unique laugh.
おいさん、外線からお電話です。東京の警視庁からですよ。
東京？そりゃまた遠くからはるばるどちら様ですかね。はい、もしもし、大石です。え？こりゃ懐かしい。どうです、お元気にしてましたか。な
Oh shit. Oh shit indeed. It's all coming together. Oh, here we go. Oh, I guess there's the first miracle is welcome a new student. Guess there's Steam achievement noises? No? Alright, let's save. Alright, let's see if there's any tips. Nope. Let's keep going. Hanyu has grown used to being around us. Since Rika-chan and Sadako are her age, he becomes especially close with them. Of course, Wena and Mion are working after her too. Wena told me something the day Hanyu joined the class. She said that Hanyu has been close to us for a long time, and that she's been watching us play. She always wanted to join us. I still can't remember seeing her before, but somehow I can believe it. Hanyu has accepted all the things that surprised me at first, as if she knew about them all along. She knows everything about us. seems she's truly excited about finally being able to join in.
羽生もすっかり僕たちの仲間に溶け込みましたのです。
だな。なんだかずっと前からそうだったように感じるよ。そんなはずはないのにな。
そんなことありませんです。ずっと僕たちのそばにいましたですよ。
あれ、リカちゃんもそんなこと言うんだな。レナも言ってたよ。俺だけが気づいてなかったのかな。
ケイイチは鈍感だからきっと気づかなかったに違いないのです。みー。
ち、どうせ俺は鈍感ですよだ。
はわわお。リカとケイイチが座り込んでいますのです。疲れましたですか？羽生が疲れ知らずなだけなのです。僕たちは遊びすぎてヘトヘトなのですよ。だって僕はずっとみんなと一緒に遊びたかったから、これくらいでは遊び足りないのです。もっともっと遊びますですよ。はわわ
う元気だな。ところで羽生さ、その頭のそれ遊んでて落ちちゃわないのか？
Hanyu has horns on her head. I thought that was a hair accessory of sorts, so I didn't want her to lose it while playing. I was going to offer to hold it for her while she went around. But Hanyu's face clouded over and she apologetically held on to the horns.
ケイイチ、羽生のは取れませんのです。
え？あ、そうなのか？変なこと言ってごめん。
やっぱり角なんかがあるとおかしいでしょうか。おかしくなんかないよ。キュートでかいよ。
そうそう。
Kei-chan even has a horn between his... God, this game can catch me off guard like that, and I love it. Oh god. He has a horn between his legs, don't you? That's right, the curse Why am I laughing at a dick joke? Oh god. God, fuck. What kind of horn is between his legs? What kind?
相変わらずレナさんのパンチだけは見切れませんわね。大丈夫ですのミオンさん。顔面がへこんでますわよ。
Everyone laughed except Hanyu, who didn't seem to get it. She shouldn't have said anything. But she doesn't like to talk about her horns. But I try to apologize. I think things will even get even more complicated. As I thought about what to say, I'm gonna take the girls over to Shrine Gate.
気にしなくていいのですよ、ケイイチ。羽生も気にしないようにしているのですが、まだ修行が足りないということなのです。
やっぱ気にしてたんだな。すまん、これからは気をつけるぜ。
羽生は大昔にこのひなみ沢にやってきました。
あ、やっぱりそうだったんだ。だよな。村の中のことを転校生にしちゃ随分詳しかったしな。
羽生がひなみ沢に住む前、どこに住んでいたのかはよく知りません。
I asked her once, but all she said was it was a place I wouldn't understand. Hanyu said that she, or their Hanyu's people, couldn't live there anymore. They looked for a new place to live for a long time. They traveled a very long way before arriving in Hanazawa. There was a beautiful swamp in the area, and that was exactly what Hanyu's people were looking for. Oh my fucking god. Hanyu's one of the demons. Oh my god. Oh, motherfucker. Oh, motherfucker. Oh, why the hell did I not put that together? But there was a village nearby where people lived. To show respect to the original inhabitants of an area was wrong among wandering people like Hanyu's. The clan decided to live peacefully and coexist with the villagers. However, their attempts to coexist didn't go so well. The villagers were too childish and immature to accept these newcomers. They strongly rejected them and caused a terrible tragic disaster. Hanyu said she took their form and descended upon this wind in order to subdue the disaster. However, she just couldn't hide her horns. The forbidden ancient documents say that Hanyu descended into the Furude shrine, appearing as she does today. It also states the following. Hanyu's people can't live anywhere other than this village. They can only live by coexisting with the villagers. The Furude Shrine's priests once rejected them, claiming that coexistence was impossible, with mixing with the wandering people's blood caused the villagers to become demons. But the young heir of the Furude Shrine fell in love with Hanyu, and when their child was born, the priests had to reconsider. Oh, wandering people who cannot hide your horns, if you wish to settle in this land, if you wish to settle with our blood, then I shall consider granting your wish. However, as the demon's blood mixed with the villagers, it became hard to tell who was human and who was demon. The villagers began to cast suspicion on one another, haunted by that paranoia. Unless all of that was resolved, coexistence would be impossible. For you and us to coexist, we must weigh down several walls for us to follow. They will be very strict. I am very, very sorry for imposing these upon you who have lived in peace until now. However, as long as those rules are followed, the village will be free from demonic disaster. Very well, the rules will be followed. But much blood has already been shed in the village. The anger, sins, and corruption people bear cannot be cleansed. The one law of the human world is that sins are atoned for with life. I see. If you say it's your way to let someone take on all responsibility and bury the sins with him, then we'll do that. However, wouldn't people end up pushing responsibility on each other because nobody wants to die? Exactly. That's the ugly demon in the world of man. No one will accept their own sins, but only force them onto each other. Since they can only clear the balance with their lives, everyone refuses to pay, and the sins just keep adding up. Without cleansing them, they stagnate, and people cast them upon each other forever, downing each other and passing them around. I see. If that is the imposable law of this world, and you yourselves are troubled by this law, then in exchange for coexisting with us, I shall grant you a world where people do not blame their sins on each other. What kind of world is it? So long as mankind exists, they will commit sins and give rise to corruption. How could that all be erased without fostering it onto someone else? Let me bear all the sins and corruption born from man. and purify my soul. Would all sins rest not with man? If they are borne upon myself, then man will not need to force them on each other. What are you saying? Are you really going to make yourself into a sacrifice? Someone has to take on the sins, otherwise they won't be cleansed. That's the law of your world, isn't it? A different ancient document also states the following. Of course, it's a forbidden one too. Only the head of the Furude family is allowed to read it. Nobody else. Not even the other heads of the three families. It tells that unrest grew in people's minds, that the villagers' evil hearts collected in the swamp and gave rise to demons. The Furude Shrine's priest explained that the root of all evil is the demon god of the swamp, and led the young villagers there. By the swamp they found a demon mocking the unrest in people's hearts. The young villagers fought bravely, captured the demon and dragged it to the Furude Shrine. The priest cleansed the demon god, opened her abdomen, and dragged out her organs. He chopped them up and washed them down the stream, then threw the body in the swamp. Then people regained their sanity. Those who had been suspicious of each other became friendly, and they all shared in the joy of peace again. If these forbidden ancient documents are real, then the object of the villagers' worship, Osho-sama, was captured by the villagers, forced to bear all their sins, and torn to death. Wow. Plus, it's clearly written that the demons appeared after unrest grew in people's hearts. In other words, the demons were forced to bear the sin of discord that rested with man long before they arrived. Osho-sama was a god who took on people's sins to mend conflicts between them. People eventually came to honor her, and said that that became the foundation of faith in Osho-sama. I don't understand exactly what that means, but I know one thing. When none of us humans would draw the losing straw, she offered to draw it in our stead. To prove it, we cleansed our filth by letting Kanen absorb it and drift it down the stream during the Wanagagashi festival. There's no shame or shifting of responsibility involved. Until that system was created, we were simply demons who pushed our filth and our responsibility on each other. We could only cleanse our own sins by blaming someone else and sacrificing him by cutting open his abdomen. And Hanyu took on that job. A purification ceremony without a human life. A system that forgives people for their sins. That is the origin of the cult of Osho-sama, which blames not people for their sins, but the curse. Wow. Those documents were sealed away. If they weren't, people would find out that the object of their own faith was falsely blamed and killed by their own ancestors. Hanyu apologizes. She takes in people's sins and keeps apologizing. When people can't deal with their own sins anymore, she accepts them. While Hanyu takes over, people are cleansed, and they are allowed to keep living. Demons take on sins by becoming Kan to absorb them. They are exterminated and washed down the stream, and then the village is forgiven. They are forgiven for their sins. If that's all true, then Hanyu, or rather Osho-sama, is such a tragic existence. I've asked Hanyu about this before, and she told me the following story. So basically Hanyu's Jesus? I mean that's the only like good comparison I could actually make, is that Hanyu is, Jesus who, died for our sins and all that, took on all the sins of humanity, and, we killed him, so God used Jesus. It's such a funny thing to say. But, yeah, shit, man. 4 people are stuck in a snowy mountain cabin. They play a game where each sit in one of 4 corners. It's a fairly well-known story. It's in the middle of winter. They're all getting sleepy. If they fall asleep, they'll die. So one of them comes up with an idea. They're sitting in the 4 corners of the room, so someone just has to walk clockwise to the next corner and wake up the person sitting in that corner. The one who just walked will sit in that corner, and the one who just woke up will get up, walk to the next corner, and wake up the person sitting there. If they keep doing that, nobody will fall asleep. People who know this story won't need an explanation, but this doesn't work with 4 people. When the first person gets up, their corner becomes empty. So after everyone takes turns, the 4th person goes to the next corner, which is an empty one. They sit down and fall asleep, so the game is over right there and everyone freezes to death. In other words, to play this game you need more than 4 people. You need 1 more person in order to be saved. People usually tell this as a ghost story. They usually say that this was actually a group of 5 people, but one was already dead, and thanks to that ghost, they were able to continue living until the next morning. Hanyu once told me that she's like that 5th person. If she can make everything run smoothly by joining a circle of people, then it's very similar to how the telephone game in the mountain cabin manages to function without breaking. Hanyu can complete a circle that can't be realized by people alone. Then those people can live peacefully. She's an existence that completes a circle. Is she bothered by the horns because it reminds her of the time when she was called a demon and punished for the sins she took in? Is her subconscious still tormenting her with thoughts that those who have horns ought to be persecuted?
そうなんか？そりゃますます悪いことを言っちまったな。
そして羽生はその角があるがゆえに全ての罪を引き受け、生産するというとても大きなお役目を引き受け、全うし神と崇められたのです。
え？神？
僕の独り言なのです。忘れて大丈夫なのですよ。
Nobody knows who Hanyu really is. Is she really a divine existence that descended from a higher place? Or is she simply an unlucky girl who became a sacrifice just because she had a pair of horns? Nobody knows. But this girl's blood was blended with the Furude family's blood, and that blood is descended into me. Our legends state that if the Furude family has a girl for their firstborn child for 8 generations in a row, that a child will be a reincarnation of Oshiro-sama. I don't know exactly what that means, but I'm that 8th generation. Is that why I was the only person who could see Hanyu? 8 generations is a very long time. Maybe that's how long it took for all the sins Hanyu assumed to be cleared. 8 represents infinity. It's a very unlucky number. Often curses uttered will contain, "I'll curse you for 7 generations," but the 8th lies beyond that. In other words, 8 possesses such good fortune that it can forgive great curses and sins that span 7 generations. It's a number with power. It's the time Hanyu needed to cleanse all the sins she took in from the humans. Hanyu and her people simply wanted to coexist with us. But Hanyu had to become a sacrifice. Her stomach was cut open and its contents washed down the stream. Then she was thrown into the swamp. And so, the Furude family's been waiting. They waited for a very long time for her to come back. They kept our traditions alive, waiting forever and ever for her return. Of According to legend, the name Furude was made by adding a horn to the character for a fortune teller. The Furude family rose when Hanyu's bloodline was combined with that of human beings. Hanyu is the ancestor of the Furude family, as well as the mother of us all. When I was little, Hanyu taught me a lot more things than my mother did. It's no wonder. I'm her descendant. The curse on the clan who exorcised and buried their very own mother was finally absolved after 8 generations, what seemed like eternity. God damn, man. And then she met me, her descendant, the final generation of the Furude family. Sometimes when I think about that, I feel like there must be some important meaning to this hapless fate thrust upon me. But what kind of meaning could the trial I face, the trial of breaking through the obstacles sealing my fate, have upon the curse that plagued Hanyu and the Furude family for over a millennium? 1,000 years is simply too long a period to communicate thoughts and intentions correctly. Hanyu has become the curse we call Oshiro-sama. Though she originally was a means of salvation, she has become a chain that binds people. The rules about coexisting were misinterpreted as a wall that binds villagers to this place, and that continued until the Meiji era. And while the village winds once again blow towards a misunderstanding of isolation thanks to that damn conflict, how does that play into my meaning with Hanyu and this motley fate we're trapped in? I haven't lived long enough to be able to understand that. The only thing I can say for sure is that the Furude family originated when Hanyu's bloodline mixed with that of humans, and the line's final descendant, me, finally met with its ancestor. The Furude bloodline bears a cursed history of placing all of man's sins onto its mother and killing her. Now the beginning and end of that line have met. Hanyu has always wanted to join everyone, yet she couldn't hide her horns. Even so, she still wished to be existence that completes a circle. It's a child's job to bury their parents. But Mother, I've never heard that it's a child's job to care and bury their parents. Don't ask, child. I'm not human. My horns are proof that I'm a demon. A demon's job is to take on the calamities of the human world. Bearing the calamities of this chaotic world and cleansing the unrest in mankind's heart is my role. Then Mother, why do you have to be the one? People's sins are people's sins. They aren't yours. Listen, child. People live with their sins. They can't live without making someone else take the blame. Nobody wants to take the blame, so they shift that responsibility around. That is a demon, the true demon disrupting the world of man. By bearing it myself, man may be cleansed, and mankind can be freed from their destiny of doubt and conflict. Would all the sins, the filth, the karma, and the curse come to me, then attack me, purify me, wash me down the stream, and throw me in the swamp? A human will not do. So it is the fate of one not human to accept that wall. If a human were made to bear it, then mankind would not be free from the demon of doubt. I don't understand. I don't understand, Mother. Mother, you have horns. Are you saying that you aren't human just because you have horns? That even if you are human, the horns make you non-human? Even if you have horns, you're human to me. My child, you're the only one who's ever said that. Even if everyone else calls me, or you still call me human. What is passed down in the Furude's many forbidden scrolls, the ones unknown to even the heads of the food families, sealed in the altar in the shrine storage. Understanding that would probably require about as much time as I've spent repeating time. Yet once you understand that, perhaps you'll better understand the smile Hanyu wears as she innocently plays with everyone. Wow. Wow. So tragic. Forced So Hanyu decided to take on the sins of man. She died because of it. But when she came back in the 8th generation, at least visible to Rika, she was forced to see all the villagers that she once took on the sins for start killing each other because of doubts and suspicion and forcing their own sins onto others. She was forced to watch that for who knows how long. And all she could do was apologize. That she can't do anything. That she was forced to watch. And this adds another thing to not wanting Rika to lose her mind during the time loop. Because one, Rika's the descendant of Hanyu. And two, I think it makes so much more sense why Hanyu did not want to participate in this. Why she didn't want to do it again. Because she had already done it before. She had already took on the responsibility of all the sins of the people in the village. And she died for that. But yet, she comes back over a millennium later and it still is happening. The sins are still happening even with her sacrifice. So why should she do it again? If it's going to turn out the same way it happened 1,000 years ago. Wow. That makes Hanyu's motivation so much more clearer. And why she didn't want to do it again. Because she had been through it before. And that it turned out they only did anything. Wow. Wow. Holy shit. Wow. Wow. Just wow. So that's all I can say is it's fucking tragic. But just wow. I heard Mion yell in surprise. Something must have happened.
なんだどうしたんだ
羽生さんがそこでふざけてて転んで斜面を転げ落ちていったんですわ。羽生ちゃん大丈夫？
綺麗に転がってったけど捻挫とかしてないかな。行こう行こう。
Hanyu had been playing on the slope and tumbled down it. His well just below the slope. Mion and the others went down the stairs to get to her. Let's go. Hope she isn't injured. When I got there, I saw Tomoki-san and Takano-san. They were taking care of her.
これはどういうことなんだい？急に彼女が転がり落ちてきてね。
ずいぶん綺麗に転がってきたわね。でも頭をゴチンとやってしまったみたいだから後でコブになってしまうかもね。よく冷やしておいた方がいいわよ。
羽生私たちの声が聞こえます？ほら指は何本に見えますの
？She sounded disoriented, but didn't appear to be injured. What a relief for everyone. I bet she's just feeling dizzy from rolling.
でもよかったね。怪我がなくて。
いやいや。 しかし転がってった先に看護師さんがいてくれたなんてできすぎだね。
あら、非番の時の私は野鳥撮影家なのよ。ねえ次郎さん。
まあね、そういうことさ。
まあひなみ沢っ子ならこのくらいで怪我はできねえよな。羽生ももう立派なひなみ沢の仲間ってことだぜ。
羽生ちゃんっていうの？見かけない子ね。新しいお友達？
ええ、そうですわよ。月曜日に転校してきたばかりなんですのよ。
これ何？変わってるわね。
Oh
お
boy.
もちゃ？
Takano-san tried to poke at one of Hanyu's horns. They'd be an interesting hair accessory if they were an accessory.
それは羽生ちゃんのチャームポイントなので取っちゃダメなんです。
あら、そうなの？私はあまり可愛くないと思うんだけど。だってほら、化け物
Oh.
みたいじゃない？
Suddenly, Hanyu moaned as if suffocating.
高野、羽生は化け物じゃありませんです。二度と言ったら許さないのです。
そうだよ高野さん、人の趣味に悪いよ。
ごめんなさいね。決してそんなつもりはなかったんだけど。
Pika-chan said it rather firmly. Sure, Hanyu doesn't want to hear that word. Sometimes Takano-san says things in a derogatory way without realizing it herself. But I guess there are things you can or shouldn't say. Hanyu was looking at Takano-san with a complicated look on her face. After seeing that expression, Takano-san realized she might have hurt her feelings. She apologized and left with Tomoki-san.
大丈夫？羽生、綺麗に転げ落ちたから大して怪我はないそうです。ティカ、今の人、今の人？高野ですよ。
Oh, does she not remember?
高野。
Hanyu repeated Takano-san's name. All of a sudden, I grew worried that she hit her head or something. Hanyu stood straight up and grabbed Rika-chan's collar.
リカ、高野です。高野。そうですよ。高野ですよ。違う、リカ。高野です。高野。
Shit.
覚えてないのですか？知ってるわよ。高野美代でしょ。入江診療所の。思い出せないのですか？ごめん、羽生。何の話？
Oh, fuck.
リカ。そんな。
This is the last one. The last one. She finally imprinted herself with the true enemy's name while enduring the pain of her stomach being cut open. Also, another fucking thing to fucking mention. Hanyu had to witness her ancestor go through the same pain she did over 1,000 years ago. Or her descendant. Which is just adds on, to this fucking pile of, just pain. Pile of pain, yeah. While enduring the pain of her stomach being cut open. And yet she can't Remember, Mikafurude has failed to inherit the memory of the fragments. Don't you fucking end there. Shit. Shit.
Akasaka さん、ご無沙汰しておりますよ。
大石さん、その後もお変わりなく。
おかわりなくなんてひどいですな。最近リンゴダイエットっていうのを始めましてね、ちょいと体重が絞れてきたつもりだったんですがね。そういう赤坂さんはこれまた見違えるくらいたくましくなったじゃないですか。
この程度には鍛えてないと体が持ちませんので。
It'll really work out my neck.
あれ、クラちゃん、その人、あの人かい？何年か前にうちに来た東京の公安の。
本田屋さん、ご無沙汰しております。その節はお世話になりました。
あんた、随分とまあ立派に成長しちゃったじゃないですか。若いっていいね。
さあ、せっかく来てくれたんです。もうお店に行っちゃいましょう。馴染みの店ですからのれん前でも入れてくれるでしょう。さあ行きましょう。
大石さん、いいんですか？まだ勤務時間中じゃないんですか？
何言ってんですか。東京本庁からいらっしゃられた特命刑事との特別研修ですよ。さあ行きましょう。ちょいと先に電話してきます。赤坂さんに比べたらカモネギみたいな連中ですがね。ちょいとメンツを揃えまして、いいところに。クマちゃん、今夜バチッとポンチしに行きませんか？
大石さん、本当に変わっておられませんね。
Akasaka used to think Oshi wasn't serious enough about work, but after experiencing many different things in the real world, that preconception had completely disappeared. Oshi's that way because of his experience. It's not always best to take things seriously. In this world, sometimes being that frank can help. In Akasaka's case, people often tell him to relax more. Not in Oshi's case, maybe he should straighten out a little.
赤坂さん、行きましょう。
ええ、参りましょう。
いい返事です。だいぶベテランの余裕ができてきました。そうでなくちゃ。
The old Akasaka would have thought Oshi was making fun of him, but by now he could take it as an honest assessment.
赤坂さんもずいぶん強くなりましたね。なんだかお酒じゃ勝てない気がしてきましたよ。いやー、オイルと酒に弱くなるってのは本当ですな。
ご謙遜を。それに私が強いのは情報収集が下戸では務まらないからです。ちゃんと予算を切って常に若手と特訓してますから。日本酒、洋酒、紹興酒のれんをくぐることもあればミラーボールのお店の時もありますよ。
そりゃいい。 今度ぜひ私も高知に参りますよ。
ええ、ぜひ享受してやってください。最近の若いのは自分は生まれつき飲めないとかひよったことばかり言ってますよ。私だって最初は全然ダメでしたがね。酒は飲めば飲むほどに強くなり、ますますに旨味がわかるようになるんです。
そうですそうです。聞いてますかクマちゃん。
面目ないっす。
これでもだいぶ強くなったんですよ。
そうだの。大石と組まされたばかりの頃はお前乾杯からウーロン茶だったからの。
それはいけない。乾杯は重要な意味があるんです。そこでアルコールを飲まないというのは、自分はこの飲み会に不服があるって言ってるようなもんなんです。だから私はそんなことする若手どもにはきっちり指導してますよ。一気飲みしろって言ってんじゃない。とにかく最初の一杯だけは中ジョッキ。
When Akasaka first came to Okayama, he was very nervous. But there was no trace of that tension left in him. Seeing that, Oshi realized just how much Akasaka had learned in the past few years.
よっ、赤坂さんかっこいい。いや、もう本当に頼もしくなっちゃいましたね。私にとっては定年までの残り数年でしかなかった間に、赤坂さんはこれほどたくましく成長したんですから。いやいや、老兵は去るべきだと痛感します。
そんなことはないです。私も嫌になるくらい経験がものを言う世界というのを勉強しました。
Just making sure that the game doesn't crash.
力仕事や現場仕事なんか私たち若造に任せて、大石さんのようなベテランにはぜひデスクで胸を張ってこき使ってもらいたいもんです。
ですってよ。聞いてますかクマちゃん。
すいません頑張るっす。
大石、熊谷君も頑張っちょるぞい。めんどくさがりのお前さんに代わってよくまめに歩き回っとる。
You are going to drink those 5 shots, Kuma, or it's the last thing you fucking do.
大石さんはめちゃくちゃな人でしょ。私が大石さんと組んだのはほんの数日間だったんですが、あなたの気持ちもよくわかりますよ。でもね、大石さんがきっとあなたを鍛えてくれますから、最後まで信じてついていってください。
わかりました。頑張るっす。でもお酒は鍛えられても麻雀までは無理っすよ。かみさんに給料を渡す前に大石さんに取られるんです。
いや、麻雀も経験なんです。打った場数が強さと自信になるんですよ。後でご一緒しましょう。まずは負けない打ち方を伝授します。
大石、いい若者だの。お前さんが無茶やってた頃にちょっとだけ似とるの。
まさかまさか。私はこんな2枚目じゃありませんでしたから。
It was unusual for Oshi to enjoy anyone's company this much. Akasaka and Oshi only worked together for a few days. They had exchanged some holiday cards since, but that was about it. Oshi had no idea how happy it would make him to see such a greenhorn grow into a dependable cop. Oshi always thought he wanted to be active until the day he retired. But after seeing such a dependable colleague, he began to think that maybe it was time for him to step down. Oshi and Akasaka enjoyed their reunion more than they thought they would. The owner of the place was bringing the electric sign inside. All the chairs were up on the tables, and the owner's wife was cleaning the floor. There was nobody else around. Judging by the clock, it was almost 3 a.m.
フラちゃんたちは久しぶりの再会なんでしょ。ゆっくりしてっていいよ。帰る時だけ起こしてくれねえかな。鍵しなきゃなんねえから。
すんませんな、気を使わせちゃって。
There wouldn't be anything else open at such a late hour. Oshi and his colleagues still wanted to talk, so they decided to stay. Guy couldn't fight his sleepiness and was nodding off. They were talking about Akasaka's job. Akasaka works at a department specializing in public safety. Oshi and the others were interested in all his stories of danger and bravery.
それで、実はこちらに来たら、フルでリカという少女に会いたいと思っていたんです。
フルでリカって、フルデ家の忘れがたみのリカちゃまですか？
忘れがたみということは、彼女の両親は
Rika Furude had predicted that there would be an incident in Himizawa every year for the following 5 years. Her parents, according to her, were supposed to be killed in the 3rd year running.
ねえ、あれはお社様のたたりの3年目ですから、昭和56年ですかね。フルデ夫妻がちょいと引っかかる形でお亡くなりになりまして、赤坂さんがひなみ沢に行かれてからちょうど3年後の話です。
3年後。私がひなみ沢を訪れてから3年後の6月のことなんですか？
ねえ、そうです。どうしました？何か気にかかることでも？
Akasaka shut his eyes tidily to chase away the alcohol in his brain and try to remember the girl's prediction. He had, after all, come here to confirm it.
私が訪れたのは昭和53年です。その翌年にダム建設の監督が亡くなられたということは、そうだ、彼は私と麻雀を打った方のはず。あの方はその後どうなさっていますか？
新聞にドーンと載ったと思ったんですが、こっちの地方だけなのかな。ええ、その翌年に作業員たちとの喧嘩で殺されてしまいまして。
Rika Furude had predicted that he'd be killed in a gruesome way, that his body would be dismembered.
その遺体をバラバラにされたということは？
なんだ、知ってるじゃないですか。その通りです。未だ右腕が見つかりませんでね。お気の毒なことです。
The following year, on the same day in June 1980, Sadako's parents will be pushed to their deaths. Maybe it should be called an accident. A lamentable accident.
続けて確認します。さらにその翌年、監督の殺人事件の翌年です。確か、そうだ、聡子さんという多分女性の方だと思います。その方のご両親が転落でお亡くなりになるということは？
おや、お詳しいですね。そうです。ダムの賛成派だった北条夫妻が旅行先の展望台から転落しましてね。事故か事件か未だにはっきりしませんが。
In the following year, on the same day in June 1981, my parents will be killed.
そして、その翌年には。
はい。フルでリカのご両親がお亡くなりになります。ですが、どうもこいつも今一つ腑に落ちない事件でしてね。
お前さん、随分とお社様のたたり関係に詳しいの。この事件、地元の圧力であまり公にされとらんはずなんだが。
なんてことだ。
だが、いくらお前さんでも次の年は無理だろうの。何しろ4年目から秘匿捜査指定がかかっとる。
いえ、 わかります。
In the following year, on the same day in June 1982, Sadako's mean aunt will die, her head will be smashed in.
その翌年ですから、つまり昨年です。先ほどの聡子さんのおばにあたる方が頭部撲殺のような形で殺されてはいませんか？
そうです。ビンゴです。赤坂さん、どうしてそんなことまでご存知なんですか？
多分私はさらにその翌年に殺される人物も知っています。
お前さん、何を言っとるんだ。第一、去年の翌年中たらそら今年のことだろうが。
I'll be killed.
昭和58年6月、つまり今月です。古手理香が殺されます。
Oshi and the others were at a loss for words. Akasaka talked about the four mysterious incidents. Although he had been far away, he belonged to a very special unit of public safety. It could have been possible for him to find out about their secret investigations. That was why it wasn't that odd for Akasaka to mention the series of mysterious deaths, even though he had been far away from Himizawa. However, not only did he know about them, but he also named the next victim. Oshi and his co-workers had sobered up entirely.
赤坂さん、もう夜もだいぶ更けました。これ以上はお互いしんどいんで、単刀直入に行きましょう。今の話は一体どういう意味ですか？
はい。今の話は、私がひなみ沢を訪れた昭和53年6月に彼女から聞かされたことなんです。
なんですって？
Oshi couldn't believe what he was hearing. He was left speechless.
信じられない気持ちはわかります。それを聞いた当時の私も、幼い少女の気まぐれな予言遊びくらいに思いました。ですが、彼女は5年目に自分が殺されることを私に訴えました。それはつまり、自分を助けてほしいという明白なメッセージだったと思うんです。今回ひなみ沢を訪れた最大の目的は、彼女を訪ね、本当に今でも私の助けを必要としているのかを確かめるためだったんです。
赤坂さん、私はね、今年で定年なんです。連続開始事件の1年目に殺されたおやっさんの仇をどうしても年内に取りたいんです。ですから私はどんな些細な情報でも怪しげな情報でも飛びつきます。だから一応確認させてください。今の話は冗談じゃないですよね。なんかの冗談なら今のうちにそうだと言ってくださいよ。
Well, Goshi was willing to believe aliens from Lena, so you know, man.
私は真実しか言っていません。
I mean, if he's willing to accept that, he's fucking willing to accept anything by this point, man.
古手理香は昭和53年6月に今の話を私に語ったんです。ただ、当時の私はそれを重要な話とは思わず、それを大石さんに伝えませんでした。それは申し訳なく思います。
いや、それは無理もないぞい。そんな話突然されても鵜呑みにできん。4年連続した今だから聞ける話だわい。
Oh, she must have been thinking that if only Akasaka had told him that back then, he could have saved his friend. But what the old man from forensics just said was right too. Oh, she wouldn't have believed him back then. And his friend would have died anyway. And oh, she would have been left with regret of not being able to do anything.
そうですね。いえ、すみませんでした。しかし、フルで理科。フルで理科がどうして、
今のひなみ沢の状況は私も詳しくありません。 一応当時の新聞でダム計画の無期凍結が決定されたというのは読みました。ですからダム戦争は終わって平穏な生活を取り戻していると信じていたのですが。
ダム戦争は確かに終わった。だがな、その翌年からな、通称お社様のたたりと呼ばれる連続開始事件が毎年起こるようになってな。その詳細についてはまさにお前さんが今言った通りの内容なんだわい。
どうやら私は彼女に大変な何かを託されたような気がしてきました。大石さん、ズバリお尋ねします。今年フルでリカが殺されるのはあり得る流れだと思いますか？
フルデ夫妻はダム戦争当時消極的だったことを理由に後ろ指を刺されていたという話があります。それで3年目のたたりにあったというのが定説です。その流れから言えばフルデリカ殺しは
あり得るんですね。
Oh, she nodded slowly.
明日フルでリカに接触を試みるつもりです。どうやら彼女に直接話を聞くしかないようですからね。
赤坂さん、それ私もご一緒させてくれませんか？フルでリカの話はどうやら私にとっても重要なものになりそうです。
こりゃお前さん、なんともとんでもない土産を持ってきてくれたもんだの。わしもちょいと面白くなってきたぜ。煙に巻かれたまま終わると思ってた怪事件が解けるのに立ち会えるとは思わなんだ。
しかし疑問もありますね。どうしてこんな重要な話を私だけに打ち明けたのでしょう。助けを求めるなら東京から出張してきた私ではなく地元警察のはずなのですが。
多分地元警察を信用しきれないところがあったのでしょう。私も泥臭い人間です。リカさんの信用を得ていなかったのかもしれない。それに沖宮署には S 号の息のかかった連中も少なからず潜んでいます。
つまり東京から来た私が一番信用できたということですね。
悔しいですがそういうことになるでしょうな。
だとしたら大石さん。
And the fact that Akasaka is an outsider, like Kechi is.
この件他にはない道に。
もちろんです。とにかく明日ひなみ沢に行ってリカさんに直接話を伺ってみましょう。話はそれからです。
Well then.
信じられないわ。でもそれが真実なのね。
It was in the middle of the night when the sounds of insects and Sadako's snoring could be heard. Miko was sitting by her favorite window.
そうなのです。リカを殺すのは高野なのです。僕もリカもはっきりと見ましたのです。リカは高野の顔を目に焼き付けようと意識のあるままにお腹を裂かれてもなお歯を食いしばってその顔を見ていたのです。
嫌な死に方ね。毎回記憶に残ってなかったのを感謝したいわ。でもなんとなくわかる。高野の好みそうな殺し方だもの。でもわからない。どうして高野が私を殺すの？だって私は女王感染者で 私が死ねば大惨事になるんでしょう。だから入江機関や山犬たちが私を守ってくれてるんじゃないの。
Because the devil in disguise had twisted her goal to avenge.
そのてっぺんにいる高野がどうして私を殺さなくちゃならないの。ごめん、意味のない質問ね。高野が私を殺す、それが真実なのであって、その動機なんか大した問題じゃないものね。しかしだとしてもよりによってなぜ高野なの。
Forgot to mention this at the beginning of the video, but Takano is very much a villain that was shaped by the environment around her rather than from herself. The reason why she had a noble intention of honoring her grandfather's work, and was she ruthless in her experimentations? Yes, she had no morality towards the villagers of Himizawa. She merely saw them as test subjects. But she still had a bit of morality, as we saw in one of the fragments, until Okonogi suggested killing Rika's mother, which made Takano realize the power she had, and therefore she started killing the people that got in her way. And even with there, she still did not want the village to die. She did not want the Himizawa syndrome to get out, even by that point. But until she was truly out of roads to get out, where a single death of her uncle had changed the course of everything, due to factors out of her own control, due to politics, due to men wanting to have more money, she was forced into, a car, and she was told by a woman who knew every single detail of her motives, of why she wanted to do the things she did, that she twisted them. Twisted that pure, noble goal of having her grandfather's work recognized, and twisted it into vengeance. Twisted it against the world instead of benefiting it. Instead of letting Hifumi's work benefit humanity and showing the truth of what we are, Nomura twisted that motive into a damnation of humanity instead. So, Takano is very much a villain that's very much that was caused by the environment around her. Although she had just said that the motive didn't matter, Rika went back to the same question. The reason why Takano was protecting Queen Courier wasn't because she wanted to prevent the rest of Himizawa from developing the syndrome. It was because the Queen Courier was an extremely valuable subject of her research. Then, considering that value, why did she kill the Queen Courier with her own two hands?
敵は高野一人なの。
山犬の人たちも敵でした。入江が敵かは分かりませんでしたが、多分敵じゃなかったと思いますです。
高野と山犬が敵？冗談じゃない。私たち小娘がどう立ち向かえって言うの？無理よ。奇跡でも起きない限り、あんな奴らに私たちが勝てるわけがない。しかも、綿流しは次の日曜日、
私が殺されるのは22日。あと1週間ってところ。そのわずかな時間でどう戦うの？高野を金属バットで闇討ちにでもしてみる？意味ないわ。高野は所詮連中の一人。高野一人を返り討ちにしたって山犬たちに取り囲まれておしまいよ。どうすればいいのよ。どうすれば。そんなの僕だってわからないのです。でも今までは何度繰り返したって敵の名前だってわからなかったじゃないですか。それをやっと掴んだのです。やれることがあるはずなんです。
This was the first time in a long time that Hanyu had spoken so positively. Rika was startled for a moment, and realized that she was losing her cool. She took a deep breath and tried to calm herself down. She was still confused that Takano was the culprit. Rika had always thought of Takano as her ally. There were, after all, many reasons why Takano should treat her well. Rika couldn't even think of one reason why Takano would want to kill her. Still, Takano was always thinking about bizarre things. There was no guarantee that a crazy idea of hers couldn't become a motive.
ということは、富武は殺されてる。つまり、富武は味方？多分味方だと思いますです。そうですよ、リカ。富武に相談すればいいのです。
Takano was accompanied by the mountain dogs because of an organization named Tokyo. So could Rika ask for help only from someone affiliated with that organization? In that case, Tomiki was the only one she could talk to about the issue. Although Ire might also be worth having a talk with. But then, that was why she needed to know. She needed to know why Takano wanted to kill her. Unless she could explain that, they probably wouldn't even believe her. Besides, Somiki was in love with Takano. He wouldn't doubt her so easily. Yurei seemed to be keeping a little distance from Takano. He might be a little more inclined to believe. But as someone who was simply a doctor, he knew little about Tokyo. He might end up being useless to Rika. Then should she call the police? No way, definitely no way. There was no way they would believe her. If she were to make a call and say that a strange organization named Tokyo was trying to kill her, they would think she was crazy. Akasaka, Akasaka, Akasaka! Then what she could do? What could she do? How could she save herself? The serious people in Himizawa were coming to kill her. How could she run from them? How could she fight them? How? She had remembered the scene of Takano killing her, then she wouldn't have been so confused. Because seeing is believing. But she didn't remember. This was just what Hanyu was telling her. She didn't want Takano to be her enemy. That was the truth she didn't want to accept. So she was tempted to just say that this was all simply Hanyu's delusion.
落ち着くのです、リカ。前の世界で僕たちは学んだはずなのです。覚えていませんですか？前の世界のことを。前の世界ってあれでしょ？レナが学校にガソリンをまいて立てこもって。
Shit.
違いますです。その次にもう一つ世界があったのです。本当に覚えてないのですか？その世界ではあいつが帰ってくるのです。北条鉄平が。最悪の世界ね。何をやっても相談所は様子見で、聡子は数日で廃人同然。どうせ仲間の誰かが発症して鉄平を闇討ちにするんでしょ。違います。そこではみんなが 力を合わせて相談所に陳情してちゃんと聡子を救ったのです。その世界でリカは圭一にあれだけ教えられたじゃないですか。奇跡は信じなきゃ起きない。そしてみんなが信じれば必ず奇跡は起こるって。
確かに圭一が言いそうなことね。でもすごいわね。今まで一度も退けられなかった鉄平の帰宅する世界を打ち破るなんて。
その世界の圭一たちはどうやって奇跡を起こすか知ってますですか？みんなにですね、ちゃんと相談したのです。どうせダメだとか一人で悩んだりとかしないでみんなに相談したのです。だから奇跡が起こせたのです。
みんなにって圭一たちに高野のことを相談しろと？東京という怪しげな組織に狙われているから助けてって相談して信じてくれると思ってるの？
信じてくれますです。前の世界では信じてくれましたのです。なんでリカは僕が言うのを信じてくれませんのですか？
ごめんなさい。信じないわけじゃないの。羽生が見たんだからそれは真実なんだものね。自分の記憶に残らないというのがこんなにも温度差を感じさせてしまうものだったなんて。
とにかくリカと僕が2人で悩んでも何も解決できませんです。僕たち2人の力ではあまりに非力なのです。でも僕たちには武器があります。それは真実です。動機はよくわかんないけど、でも犯人は高野だって分かってます。だからこれはこれまでの世界で一番有利なスタートのはずなんです。それなのになんで最後の最後でリカだけ記憶がつながらないのです。
Hanyu grounded her teeth remorsefully. She saw the truth just a short time ago, so she couldn't believe that Rika didn't remember anything. If it was something she had seen herself, then she wouldn't even need a motive. But she hadn't. That's why she couldn't understand. Why was her memory missing even when Hanyu's memory was still intact? Did that mean their long journey was about to end? Perhaps her infinitely repeating journey was already over, and this was the last world of all.
羽生がみんなにも見えて、しかも転校までしてくるなんて、なんだか変な世界だなとは思ってたけど、どうやらここはとびっきりおかしな世界みたいね。
おかしくも何もありません。ただ最後の世界なだけなのです。僕はその最後の世界でみんなと力を合わせるためにやってきました。僕はここでは傍観者じゃない。リカのみんなの仲間で味方なのです。
そういえばそうね。あんた傍観者をやめたのね。
僕はもう傷つくことを恐れて舞台に上がらないなんて嫌なのです。それを恐れずにみんなと信じる。だから奇跡が起こせる。これは昭和58年6月をかけたゲームの世界なのです。戦っているのはリカと高野。期限までにリカが敵を倒せないと自動的に負けになる。高野たちは山犬という強力な駒をいくつも持っている。少々の駒を集めたくらいではとても太刀打ちできないのです。だからリカはあらゆる人に助けを求め対等な数だけ駒を揃えなければそもそもゲームが始まらない。このゲーム版のルールを 僕たちは何度も繰り返しながら学んできましたのです。それはまるで説明書のないゲームのよう。でも僕たちは何度も学び、そしてようやく戦い方を知り、さらに敵方の駒の正体まで最初から分かっているという破格のリードがもらえましたのです。リカ、ぼんやりしてる場合じゃないのです。綿流しまであと1週間。前の世界は2週間の猶予で始まりましたのですが、今回は1週間しかない。
Single week.
つまりこれが最後の世界なのです。
分かったわ。私が覚えていないことの不幸を嘆くより、あなたが覚えていてくれた幸運を喜ぶべきね。あなたまで忘れていたら、この最後の世界も右往左往してるうちに終わってしまったに違いない。それに圭一たちへの相談も、うまく話し方を考えれば何かいい知恵がもらえるかもしれない。何しろ学校大爆発がほぼ確定したあの世界で、レナと大立ち回りをして正気に戻させるという奇跡を成し遂げた男なんだから。
そうです。とにかく話せる人に相談しましょうです。僕たちだけではあまりにか弱いのです。仲間を集めどうするかを考えましょうです。奇跡の道も一歩からなのです。
しかもそれはたったの1週間でね。
Hanyu had never encouraged her like this before. She had always pretended to be a bystander. She never wanted to go through the pain of failure, so she had never had expectations for anything. But now she was trying to intervene in this world so passionately and proactively. According to Hanyu, there had been another world after the one in which Rena occupied the school. Apparently, Kechi really inspired her in that world. Rika had nothing to lose. She had to talk to whoever she thought she could trust. And whether she tried or not, she had only a very short time left. She decided to do whatever she possibly could until that time arrived. She would never again act like it was cool to sip wine pretending to be a witch as the end closed upon her. Here's Nomura. Oh shit. Who the fuck are you? This woman, right now, she's the most mysterious piece of this entire fucking puzzle. Because we have no idea what the hell she is.
野村です。ええ、先日は詳細な資料をありがとうございました。厚生省のお歴々もあなたの丁寧な資料のおかげで南沢症候群の恐ろしさを理解してくださりました。
What the hell is your game plan?
すべてあなたと高高野先生の研究の成果ではありませんか。私は正当な研究が正当な評価を受けられるようにしたに過ぎませんわ。
Speaking of Takano.
それはもちろんあなたの資料をやがては総理の手にも取らせてみせましょう。総理は一国の主、我が国で最も権力を持つ人物にあなたとあなたの祖父の論文を読ませ、それがいかに優れた研究であり、そして南沢症候群がいかに特別なものなのか。なのにその研究をないがしろにし、無残にもあなたとあなたの祖父の論文を土足で踏みにじった現理事会、彼らがどれだけ愚かなのかを分からせてお見せします。えそんなあなたに朗報があります。終末作戦が終わった後、現地は隔離閉鎖され、陸自の別部門が研究を引き継ぐこととなりました。あなたはそこへ迎え入れられ、 派閥や予算に悩まされることなく心ゆくまで研究をすることができるのです。あなたの献身的努力に報いたいとおっしゃられるクライアントの行為としか申せませんわ。
Generous client.
あなたはそこで所長の地位を与えられ、今度こそ思うままに存分に研究に勤しむことができるのです。それはとても素晴らしいことではありませんか。そしてあなたはひなみ沢症候群の研究をステップの一つにし、高野先生が求められていた本当のステージ。いいえ、これはお世辞でも何でもありませんわ。あなたに対する私どものクライアントの正当な評価です。そうですか。長電話を失礼してしまいましたわ。それでは失礼いたします。また追ってご連絡いたします。
The woman put down the handset of her car phone. Then she picked it up again and made another call.
内線1001をお願いします。ええ、渡辺とお伝えを。渡辺です。ええ、先日の件はつつがなく終了しました。
Issue?
はい。高野さんの資料は素晴らしいものです。さらに国立研究所の職員を同行させましたので、背広連中はそのまま鵜呑みに。ええ、はい、そちらも問題ありません。20日以降から敵対派閥のほとんどの閣僚は外遊、もしくは西洋で東京を離れます。
To the 20th.
はい。不確定要素はいくつか残りますが、おそらく6月23日には艦艇の堀は全て埋め尽くされているはずです。
23rd.
はい、ですので現地作戦は6月22日深夜に決行、23日に総理に緊急決裁を求める日程となると思います。はい。当日総理を補佐できるブレーンは全て我々側の人間です。
Oh shit.
総理は万に一つの疑問も抱かないでしょう。ええ、それは間違いなく総理は必ず緊急マニュアル第34号に署名します。その後はアルファベットへの責任追及となり、奥の千葉派、旧小泉派は発言力を大きく失うこととなるでしょう。
Oh fuck.
ええ、そうです。今村先生の復権は時間の問題です。ですわね。
There's money to spend on developing domestic nuclear arms or the Japanese-American alliance spanning the Pacific than would be more profitable for our nation to spend it on ODA towards China. The 21st century will be the era of China, with their nation claiming a good portion of the world's population. Japan gets nothing out of wagging its tail for the US anymore.
全くですわ。
The 21st century is almost here, yet we're still saying that communism is the greatest evil. Maybe we've been watching too many bad American propaganda movies.
はい、わかりました。では来週マカオにてよろしくお願いいたします。私カジノは大好きですので。はい、それでは失礼いたします。また追ってご連絡いたします。
The woman puts down the handset of her car phone and took a breath. She smiled in satisfaction, then picked up the handset again.
官房長官席を。マイザーとお伝えを。はい、私です。奥の長官。
Son of a bitch. Okay, so so the reason why the massacre has to take place is in order to, you know, give just 1 week, an achievement. So okay, so her goal, or at least her client's goal or whatever, is to set up this massacre, you know, to make sure Himizawa is destroyed, so the government has to investigate it in order to find out the different factions that were involved within the Alphabet Project, in order for them to sway, well, this, I'm just going to call it like a Chinese kind of like party can, you know what, I'll call them communist party can get more influence within Tokyo, so they can more align themselves with China. That's really something to say, that all this death is for, you know, different political parties wanting to gain even more influence, therefore for their own profits and their own ideology. Mostly the profits. Ain't that a fucking universal truth about the world, ain't it? Oh, God. Well, anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this type of content. If you did, hit that subscribe button. If you liked it, hit the like button. When telling me something, put it down in the comments below. And check out Discord server hang out in, or my Twitter. Check scripts below. And yeah, this has been Voidlego. I'll see you guys next time. See ya!